November 30th, 2020. Well, I'm going to talk about the Baltic Dry Index. Now, why does that matter, Drop? Well, because you see this magic number right here, 1230? That's the threshold of where the world is getting enough supplies to meet the demands of raw materials. Coal, food, like wheat. And they have three different classifications of this. It's called the capsize, Panamax, and the Supermax. Now the capsize is the largest, and they're about 150,000 tons. And the Panamax is between 60 and 70,000 tons, and the Supermax is between 48 and 60,000 tons. Now the Baltic Dry Index takes into account 23 different shipping routes carrying coal, iron ore, grains, and many other commodities. And whenever it dips below this 1230 mark, it means that the world's not getting enough supplies. Now, if we just briefly look over here, we can see the dip started right here on the 18th of December 2019. And it continued until the middle of June 17th, 2020. And it's been holding up for quite a bit, but now it's starting to drop off again over here on November 4th, 2020. Now, you're going to say, well, why do I care about the Baltic Dry Index? Because that's a telltale sign of how the economies are expected to go and where we're going to be at in 2021. The term dark winter comes from a lunar cycle that happens every 19 years. And the Israelis called it Metonic, Metonic. Every 19 years we have what's called a dark winter, which is a lunar cycle of the moon. And 2020 is kicking us into the dark winter. So the dark winter forecast for the movement of dry goods across the planet. As you can see right here, this is where we're at right now. Just barely. That's that little mark right there. We're just barely at 1230. That's what that mark is. Going further into the future in 2021, you can see it drops down to about 800. They're predicting it's not going to get above that line again for almost the whole year into October 2020. Because you got to think about this. You're looking at a corporate level type of structure, so your end of the year actually ends in October. Most people that do corporate accounting or know anything about corporations as far as they cycle their financials, October is the cutoff month. So October, November, December starts the new year for companies. Not January like you count on your scale of January, February, March. Anyway, let's get off topic. The predictions is that the Baltic Dry Index is going to be below the threshold of this 1230 for most of the 2021. It means they're expecting a very poor economy, less demand for these products because of the economy. And when they're going to ship a lot less grain and other stuff, that means they're not going to be producing stuff. That's why people were stocking up food, buying extra freezers if they can find one. If they see some air filters for their furnace for their house, they're buying those without even thinking about it. They're buying home appliances and stuff for their kitchen because they're not sure if that stuff's going to be available next year. And this could be due to the, to the Karachi virus that's going on right now. So, if you want some insight into the actual workings of what the future looks like, the forecast model for the Baltic Dry Index is a perfect model to look at. And they even show you right here the Baltic Dry Index declined 4.4% to 1227 in November, following a 25.6% slump in October due to lower rates for the capsize vessel segment. Now what's the capsize? That's the biggest ships, 150,000 tons. The capsize index, which tracks iron ore and coal cargoes, fell 18.8% from the month earlier to 1522, while the Panamax index, now the Panamax index is one of the three classifications, which carries 60 to 70,000 tons on a ship, which measures coal or grain cargoes, gained 10.7% to 1427. And you know why? Because somebody like China is getting a lot of food shipped to them after they got flooded out and the crops were ruined. The Supermax, which is 48,000 to 60,000 tons, climbed 7.7% to over a one-year high of 1022. Considering Monday, only the Baltic Dry Index was down 0.2%, snapping a 9-session rally amid both the capsize index down 0.7% and the Panamax down 0.1%. But what and you can see right here what they're projecting is the stock prices of all this stuff that they ship through the Baltic Dry Index is down. Seeing wheat go down, you're seeing soybeans go down in price because they're shipping more of that stuff to China because China is out of food. They have to import a large amount of food this year. And what does that mean to you and me here in the United States, especially if we're a homesteader or prepper or whatever, just a concerned citizen? It means our prices are going to go up, while the availability of products like appliances and everything else is going to go down. So the price of food is going to go up, and your availability to buy products like freezers and stuff like that is going to continue to slide. Yes, it's going to be a dark winter, all right. It's going to be a dark winter for the economy, and a lot of these central banks, including the Federal Reserve, are just going to sit there and print money day and night to add liquidity to the markets, to keep the markets from collapsing, in the same process of devaluating the currencies across the planet, because they're broke. They're done. Yes, the 19-year lunar cycle is definitely going to be a dark winter. You've been warned.